Recently, while opening one of the Hot Wheels black boxes, the Amazon exclusive case sets that they're sending out of 16 cars, I opened it and found this Hot Wheels Braille Racer twin mill. Now, those of you who have watched the channel for a while know that I did a series of the different twin mill castings, painted them all to look like the original twin mill. I used metal cast red and made the family of sisters. Well, this one needs to join the group. This is really interesting casting. It has all the little bumps so you can read Braille on it. And not only on the casting itself, but also on the outside of the bubble pack. And there you see them on the sides. It's interesting to me that they painted this white. And I thought, well, if they're implying that it doesn't need to be colorful because it's being held by someone who's blind or whatever they're implying, I found it interesting that then they put the stripes on it. So I thought, well, hell, this thing needs metal cast red paint. It needs to join the family. So took it apart. The upper half of the body is metal. The base is plastic. And there's the engine section that's plastic. There is no windshield on this. It's closed over, as you see there. And there you get a better look at the bumps. And what is it they say? Paint can hide a multitude of sins? Something like that. Oh, you see the bumps on the bottom too. That white paint on that casting is really hiding a lot. Not just some interesting detail in one way, but it's hiding some rough spots. But first things first, pop the wheels, pop the axles, wheels out of the base, just using the tweezers to do that. It's simple enough. Stripped the body through it in citrus strip, stripped it, remembered to drill it out before doing anything else. I screwed that up recently on another casting, and it's a mistake I do not like to make. So drilled it, tapped it, 256 screws. It has large posts, which is very nice. This does just seem to have a lot more of the traditional twin mill styling than some of the other twin mills in the family that I've done. So I did like that. And some of the things on the casting affected my choices later on and how this compares to other family members. Those darn 256 screws. I bumble and fumble. But I get it going. So now it's drilled and tapped. I'm happy. But looking at the casting itself, I gave it a quick polish with flits, and it revealed a few things. First of all, if you look at the windshield area, you notice it has a matte finish to it. That's intentional on their part. The rest of the body was smooth, kinda. But they definitely intentionally put a matte pattern over that glass area, which didn't really show through the white paint. But naturally, when I do this metal cast paint, it will, and I decided I wanted to keep that. I like that fact. It also influenced another thing, but before I get into that, after that first polish, I did have to wet sand it quite a bit. And some of the things that are hidden on that by that paint are those areas where the bumps are exceptionally rough. This is I don't know if it affected how it went together or what, but there's all kinds of little weird marks. They aren't just casting lines. They're almost like the metal didn't flow right in the areas, or it's just odd and rough. And so I did quite a bit of wet sanding on this. This section that I'm showing you here, I think is sped up to 700% of normal, if I remember right, 700 to 900% of normal. So I'm trying to get in between those bumps. And that's another thing that made it difficult is it's tough to get in between the dots. It's tough to polish between the dots. It's tough to clean the polish out from between the dots. So I see why they did a heavy enamel coat on this thing. But that wasn't going to stop me. Did it as best as I could, polished it up. And there you see it after quite a bit more polishing. I'm really happy with it. In this picture, you do see the base that I laid down a silver coat on it first, and then I put the metal cast paint over that. That white area is just where the tape was that was holding that so I could paint it. You're looking at the inside of the base. Naturally, I'm putting red lines on this. It's part of the family. It has to have red lines. This casting should never not have red lines. So I guess you know how I feel about red lines. This I just used the straight pins, clipped them down to size, used the 3D printed bearings, used the bearing type wheels, and it all works out, well. You see me do this, Lord knows how many times. You see me do this in virtually all of the other twin mill builds, because I think only the one original had red lines on it. And yeah, I do really like some of those conversions. And there's the ugly hard-nosed twin mill. And there's the tuned twin mill. And then there's all the nice-looking twin mills. This one I definitely put in with the nice-looking ones. I do like the styling on this. I actually really like that matte effect they put on the windshield area. For a few moments, I thought about painting it black, and I thought, no, I'm not going to have a window area on this. That matte area also affected how I painted the engines, oddly enough. When I painted the engines, I painted them silver, but I didn't go for the Molotow high gloss reflective chrome. It's a chrome-ish look. I wanted it to be somewhat matte, like the glass. And I was really happy with that decision. And here you see it. You see it's silver, chrome-ish silver. I was really happy with it on this car. Until it joined the rest of the family. And so I'm kind of rethinking that part of it. So I may be taking it apart here shortly. But it went together simple enough, just the front and back post, throw the screws in it. And the metal cast paint, it will flow even better when the weather's warmer, because I paint outside in the garage. And it's still a little chilly. And the metal cast paint, more than any that I've used, seems to be the most sensitive to the heat. That it flows much better in the warmths of summer than it does this time of year. But I still think it turned out well. I hope you do too. So here's where we started. And just looking at that casting, it's a nice looking car. I love the twin mill. It's sad that they simplified the engines on that so much. But I guess it's okay. And here you see it, ready to join its sisters. You see the engines. And I may go back and take this apart and really chrome the engines and the exhaust. And you'll see here in a second when it's with the other family members. But I think this turns out pretty slick, and I don't see why they painted it white originally. I mean, yes, they're implying that it's for a blind person with the Braille bump so they can read what's on the casting. That doesn't mean that person doesn't want a nice smoking hot red car. So here's some glamour shots, and there are some family shots coming up here. And when it was with the family that it made me rethink maybe the engines. But I hope you've enjoyed this build. Yeah, there's more to the family, and who knows how many more to come. Thanks for watching. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. And I'll catch you in the next one. Next one won't be a twin mill.